Welcome to Health Situations. And as usual, I told us that I was going to bring in my own homegirl, to talk about the 20s and, shed more light on the 20s for us. So our topic basically was quarter life crisis, midlife crisis, and depressions. So, this is going to give us an insight, like how people are quick to downsize our emotions, how people are quick to make us feel like our mental health is not important, or how people are quick to make us feel like your particular problem is not so much as a problem. So here's my girl Odi. So let's welcome her. Welcome.
Thank you for having me today.
So just like we spoke about earlier, I was asking, I said, if you had like a group of depressed people, like people that are really going through a situation, going through their own situation, like what are like the three things you would say to them, like that you think will make an impact in their life?
Excuse me. First of all, it's the current society we live in. It's somewhat difficult to identify when a person is depressed because society, because of how they downplay it. But first of all, I feel like we need to you first validate that person's emotion, their feeling, because I know that in a typical Nigerian household, if you can't even go and meet your parents and tell your parents, oh, I feel depressed, this is how I feel. Their first line of action will be to, God forbid, reject it.
Yeah.
I reject it, and what do you know what depression is and whatnot. So I feel like validate their emotion, and don't walk on eggshells around them, because then it makes them feel like they are fragile. They're too fragile. So treat them like any other person around you, your friends, and any other person. Yeah.
So this brings us back to like when what are the things like that people need to know about having a midlife crisis? Like what are those signs that will just make you be like, okay, you need to go check yourself out? What are the things you can do that make you know that, okay, I think I'm beginning to go off?
I think one of the first is irritability. Like easily gets angered and easily get triggered. When you start getting easily triggered, and I feel like this stems from pressure from the workplace. And we all know how Nigeria is right now. Like inflation rate has, I can't even give like correct figure, because every day the inflation rate it increases. So stress, irritability first, then stress. Those are like the subtle signs you can actually see when a person is even depressed. It's not. I know that everyone expects a depressed person to be laying down, sulking, and just wallowing in whatever it is they are going through. But you can't really identify a depressed person, you know that. But I feel like easily irritated, and for some people easily irritated. For some other people, it is when you notice they start withdrawing, and then when they are losing interest in things that used to excite them before, they become, to some extent, these people might not even know that, oh, like these changes are happening in my life. It's other people who will notice. That is if you pay attention. Yeah.
Okay. So there's one thing, like when we were talking about all this, like you were saying, it comes to a certain point in your life where you realize that things are not beginning. It's not how you thought about it.
Yeah.
It's not how you envisioned it.
Planned.
Those days where you just sit down and daydream, be daydreaming. So it's like this midlife or quarter life crisis happens as a result of you are beginning to,
Reality is setting in and expectations are not, expectations are different from reality.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So what are those things that people need to do when reality starts setting in? Like, you were talking about self-awareness and how having to, start living healthy lifestyle and all those things. So what are those things? I just wanted you to like go deeply into them, like how self-awareness and beginning to, re-strategize your life can make a whole U-turn from this depression, this midlife crisis.
You know that being self-aware, it requires a lot of accountability. Like you need to check yourself, like you would be true to yourself. I know there are some of us who do not like the truth. We don't like to tell ourselves the truth, so we don't even know who we are or what we are feeling. So most times you see people, they don't even know. Like now, for Nigerians, you hear them saying, "I have a panic attack. I have anxiety. I have this." So I feel like when you become self-aware, when you hold yourself accountable, it's what's this thing we said, in your 20s, towards your late 20s, you begin to develop your frontal lobe. That is your senses become heightened, you become self-aware. So I feel like it stems from you being more accountable, being accountable to yourself. It's like the first step. Once you're self-aware, you'll be able to identify these problems, like you'll be able to identify. And I feel like before this um before midlife crisis it hits, there are signs. And just like you said, as children while growing up, we all said, "Oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a banker, or at age 25 I should be done having kids," and all those, expectations. But life doesn't always go that way. Life has its own plan for us. So I feel like as we're growing, we're getting to that age, and we are seeing that, oh, this isn't how we envisioned it to be. We should take it easy on ourselves. Just, hit pause for a second and then go back and strategize. The way Nigeria is right now, you can't really plan your life. You can't really plan anything, because if you plan, your plans will scatter, truthfully. So it's just for you to take it easy on yourself first. That is like, yeah.
So for anyone struggling with their mental health, like what are three key things you want to like say to them, like three key things you want to say. A.
As depressed people, I don't know if there's anything they haven't heard yet.
Hmm.
So like finding the right words. I don't know if they are actually the right words, because you can see that the right words are relative, because you don't know how, like, what you are saying if it might offend this person, if it might be helpful to this person. But it's just for you to take your life one step at a time. You can't do it all in one day. You can't do it all at once. That pressure that you're feeling, just take it easy on yourself. Because I even need to, like, I've been there. There are days when, like, the overwhelming pressure of, like, life and everything, and I mean it gets overwhelming. There are days when I also break down too, but I mean I'm an adult now, and I have to pack myself up, and there was a statement Chairman made last year when they were interviewing her for the leadership conference and awards. She was like, when you fall, stay down, regroup, get yourself together, and then stand up. So I just feel like people should just take it easy. I can't really say, "Oh, live this lifestyle, do this lifestyle." For me, what helps me is exercising. Like, I know that it has been, it's like people have said it, exercising, it helps, takes my mind off like thoughts. And there are times even when I try to lash out on myself. I cut my hair when I was trying to be. It's just, so for me, it feels like, starting afresh. So it takes up that burden. So just take it easy on yourself and try to find, as you are taking it easy, try to find what works for you. Because what might work for you might not work for me. So yeah, and eating healthy, like living a healthy lifestyle, just eating healthy, it improves. It actually does improve like the mental health when you eat healthy and not just eating whatever. I know for some people they stress eat, but I think can also what's that word? Incorporate that in our life.
Making conscious effort.
Yes, making conscious
try
effort.
to
True.
live healthy.
Yeah, it's true.
There was something Odi said earlier. She said when you spoke about when you want to address people who are depressed or people who are going through, there's no need like making it a sin. Like if it's possible to act normal,
some of them feel like when you're trying to be careful around them, they feel like you're trying to put them in a shell, like you're trying to
box
them. Thank you. So some of them might just have an outburst and to get, but sometimes when you see people getting angry, sometimes I don't really hold people when they like flare up and have reactions, because in all honesty we all have what we are going through.
So if there were 5 things or however number you want to say, like things you have to say to people in their early 20s, like what are 5 things you want to say to people in their early 20s or people just coming out of teenagehood?
Okay, speaking for myself, the transition into adulthood, you won't even realize when it's taking place, but that phase in your life, it's really crucial because it can determine how you play out the rest of your life. Because that mindset is being set. You are molding a different version of you. Are creating a different version of yourself. So it's crucial, and I just feel like when you're transitioning from teenagehood into adulthood, one of the most important parts, and I feel like most people tend to ignore it, is not going with God, not taking God, not taking God, not moving with God, because it's important. I remember when I transitioned into adulthood, I didn't transition. My parents were not around. I wasn't even in Nigeria, so it was different for me. So when I became an adult, things were different. The way I saw things were different. My thought process was different. How I spoke to people was different. So I feel like even your environment too, it also it influences your character, your being as a person. So take God with you. Take God seriously. Yeah, take God seriously. I mean, it will not cost you anything to say a prayer. Like me now, I like praise, I like to worship God. So it lifts my spirit. So take God, hold God to you. Don't rush. Honestly, trust me, you're not missing anything. Being there, done that, you're not missing anything. I remember when my aunties used to tell me, or even seniors in secondary school, we had this matron, Miss Buki, and we had this English teacher, Auntie Lovett. I know that they wanted the best for us, but their approach to us was not the best because they made us feel less of ourselves. So trust me, you're not missing anything. That boy, I'm sorry to say this, but that boy is still receiving stipends from his dad.
Hmm.
And do not make silly and temporary decisions over permanent decisions over temporary emotions. Don't be too quick to grow.
Hmm.
You get there, and trust me, it's not as it's not fun. Not even as it's not fun at all. So take it easy. Take God seriously. Take it easy, and if need be, slow down. Yeah, slow down. And then our choice of friends. Friends also play a crucial part, even though there are some people who might say nobody feel influence me, like as I did like this, now waiting in my mind.
How do you do?
That's a lie. Because subconsciously you're picking characters, you're picking habits from them. It's just like you with your partner. You always being around your partner. You start picking up your partner's lingos, you start using their words, you
Yes.
know. You learn things. Just so be mindful of the company you keep. Your environment, company and environment, I think they're the same thing. And don't be in a hurry to grow up. And make healthy decisions, because you already know, you have rational thinking now, you know what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah.
So just make healthy decisions. Trust me, you're not missing anything. And this generation, I don't even know, like they are so, there's this trend where they say Gen Zs are we're outspoken, we're blunt, we're whatnot. That's not being blunt. I don't know who is lying to them, but they need to take it easy on themselves. And they will get to this age. They will get to that age, and then they will see that, oh, it's not all that.
Yeah.
It isn't.
It's not that serious.
It's not that serious, honestly. Like me now, I pick comfort over anything. I won't do anything that I'm not comfortable with. I won't wear anything I'm not comfortable with. So, yeah.
So basically, 20 years, 21, 22, 23, and climbing. It's going to be a very sweet journey. So it's not about time for letting people's influence or what people think or what people will see.
And the boys will be there. They will be there.
They will still be there.
They will be there. Trust me. Men, don't worry. They are not going anywhere. Men are not. They are not. Men are. They are going to be there. Let me just, let me hold my tongue. But men will be there. Forget all these young boys now. They can't offer you anything. They can't do anything for you. You need to grow. You need to create value. My dad always says this thing: create value for yourself. When you create value, you become needed, not just wanted. You become of importance. So
Sure.
yeah.
So you guys can see the reason why I brought this mama right here. So I want us to end with on this note.
Okay.
Why do you think like starting over is such a big deal? It's so strenuous that like people will say, what will people say? How can I? How? Like why is this so hard?
They say society, and as you know, as a Nigerian society, we are judgmental, like we are brutal. No, and before I go into it, let me just say this: Nigerians are judgmental. Yet we like to claim and like to pretend we're good people, but we truly aren't. We're not even different from the government. Because if we are in the same position, we would even do worse. Because I can't remember the author, but for a society to develop, the society needs to develop before its people. But in the case of Nigeria, now we are already developed.
Yeah.
We are our minds. So it will be difficult for a society like Nigeria to thrive, because society, there's a stigma society has placed.
Yeah.
If you don't achieve this at so time, this one a failure. It's like side comments, snarky comments. I remember when I finished secondary school and I was applying to schools. I applied to some schools, but I didn't get in. And then I had this neighbor, and because we usually had this meeting, my street and the next street. So he was like, you're still around. If your dad cannot afford to pay your fees, they should just take you to Ile-Ife. The school fees is 6,500 naira only.
What?
And if your dad cannot pay that, come and say, he said it as a joke. And I was really young then. But for me to know like what that means, that was not even a nice thing to say, even as a joke to a child. So I went back home and I didn't feel as bad as my mom felt. So I went and I told my mom, and my mom cried over that statement. So my mom called my dad, and then she told my dad, and like that statement wasn't like. And ever since then, I greet him, but I still do not like. I don't care about him honestly. Like if anything is going on in his household, I never went since then. So it just made me see him differently because. We shouldn't be doing that as a society.
Yes.
So most people are scared because of judgments. My mates, people I started out with, and that's something we don't understand. It's really difficult. Starting over is really difficult. You'd have to make up your mind and the biggest person to face is ourselves. Yes,
True.
Not any other person, but facing ourselves and being truthful to ourselves. You have to face yourself and tell yourself, I'm starting this journey again. I'm starting again. I'm starting again. Starting over. Starting over is not easy. That means you have to take in the laughs, the insults. People will say a lot of things. I mean, you can't even, it's like in Nigeria, it's like starting over. When you start over, people, it's like your dignity has been stripped off of you. You don't have a voice, you can't say anything because
they will drag you.
So when you want to speak, they will now want to use it to insult you. You can't insult me with something that I have made peace with, something I have accepted. You can't insult it. It's not a weapon.
Yes.
It's my identity, and that is like I've accepted it.
Yes.
So I am walking through it and I will walk past it. So I don't know why Nigerians as a society, like we are like that. And honestly speaking, I know that we like to take pride in the fact that now we get bad mouth pass, whatnot. It's bully.
Yeah.
Like we are actually bullies. Nigerians, we are bullies. I had a cousin who we grew up together. In fact, we were 4 friends who grew up together, and we're 2 girls and 2 guys. My cousin was obviously part of us. So we finished school. Only one of us got admission. She was in Bowen. So it was difficult, her being in school and the rest of us. Then I went to school. And then my cousin went to school. And one thing led to another. My cousin was withdrawn from school. And we had passed. And in as much as we don't, like people we started out, they will pass us. They will grow. They will be ahead of us in life. But it doesn't mean it's a setback or there's a delay in your life.
Yeah.
It's not a delay. I personally feel like God is preparing my table.
Yeah.
So He cannot put me in front of my table when I am not ready. The table He has prepared for me. So we all finished school. My cousin wasn't in school. And he really struggled and eventually gave into suicide and killed himself. Yeah, drank sniper in 2022, a few days after my birthday. So I feel like all of that came from the judgments he received from people, especially neighbors. name says supposed to be our neighbor's keeper, but I don't think that's the values and the culture, those principles with which we set our society from the beginning. Those cultures, I don't think those values are still there. The morals, no, it's not there. Nobody cares. So, but tell me why in Abuja you can have a newborn, live there for 5 years, you don't know your neighbor's name.
I don't know what they do.
You don't know what they do. So it's crazy. It's crazy. So it's crazy.
People are going through things.
Yeah,
and you can't just joke around people's feelings, because that one joke can be the chain that breaks everything for that person. It might just be the end point for that person. So let's all be kind.
I think last year there was a case of a lady, I've forgotten, I think the people awake she worked at. She was in a car, got down from the car and jumped into Third Mainland Bridge. Why? Because her boyfriend broke up with her. And that's, I don't think it's the breakup that was the issue. I believe that there were other issues. So that breakup she was a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
She just needed that one tick to set her off.
So we were really happy today to have Odin have her talk about depression, midlife crisis, quarter life crisis. All these are so important. Like, there are things we need to talk about. There are things we need to help people to break out from that chain. Like, no matter where you are, at what point you are, it's not true that you can't start over again. You can always start over again. One thing Odi said that made sense so much is you are at peace with who you are, and nobody can use that against you. So the moment you make peace with your situation, the moment you make peace with yourself, the moment you know yourself to the point that yes, you have accepted it, there's nothing anyone says or does that can break you or break that pact that you have made for yourself. So know yourself. So be at peace. Find that your peace and keep sticking to it. So until next time, do stay with us on Health Situations, and don't forget to like,
share, and subscribe, and also leave a comment.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.